welcome to the B&B podcast. I am super excited because I have a very special guest today. He's a talented actor, accomplished author, a martial arts instructor, a husband, and a father. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Bryan Genesee.
Well, hello, Amanda. And just call me Bryan, please.
AKA Rocco Carner.
Yes, Rocco's back in the house.
All right, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Whoa!
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
It is absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I want to go to the beginning. I know that you moved here from Canada.
Yes.
To follow your dreams. So how did the B&B come about? Like, what was the process?
That's actually a very funny story. So I was in New York City. I moved from Canada, Toronto to New York City when I was 19 and a half. And I was there for almost 3 years. I was auditioning and I was doing some work. And I got this audition for this new soap opera. So I auditioned. And then, like a lot of auditions, it disappeared. Now, 8-9 months later, my agent says, hey, you've got a callback for that soap opera. I'm like, what soap opera? And he says, the one you went out. I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he says, yeah, you went out for something. I said, okay. So he goes, you got a callback for it for the Rocco. I said, I don't know. I don't even know what that character is. So, but I go, okay, let's go back. So I do it again. This is in New York. I do the callback in New York, which they film, and then they send it to LA. Now, a few months later, again, after that, they go, hey, they love you for this soap, or they like you, they want to see you in Los Angeles. So I'm like, okay. So I get to Los Angeles, I meet Laura Lee Bell, I meet Brad Bell and Mr. Bell and Mrs. Bell, who own the show, who have since passed away, unfortunately. And it's so exciting. And then I go in and they have me read again for this character, Rocco. And I'm like, who is Rocco? I don't know who Rocco is. Anyway, I read the character, and I actually have a job back in Canada to do a commercial. So I go back to Canada. While I'm in Canada shooting this commercial, I get a call that you've been hired for this role. And I'm like, oh, my Lord, okay, that's so exciting. And they said, you got the part of Rocco. And I keep going, who's Rocco? Anyway, they ended up writing this role for me. I actually went in for Storm. So I went in for a lawyer. And when I went in for his role, Ethan Wayne, I went in for Ethan Wayne's role, which was a lawyer. But I didn't know that when I was in New York. So I'm living in Black Puerto Rican Harlem. I wear, army boots and fatigues, and I walk around my neighborhood, and I'm friends with a bunch of people, and I'm just got the look and the whole thing. So when I went in for Storm, who I didn't know was a lawyer, you audition for a show, you don't get the whole script. You get, as you know, just the scenes that you're doing. So I have my scenes, I read my scenes, and I think, oh, this guy's name is Storm, so he must be like a storm. So I go in army fatigues and boots and, a tight T-shirt, and my hair spiked up, and I had long hair. And Brad Bell and Mr. Bell, and when they just kept cracking up. They thought it was a choice, which, to divulge the absolute truth right now, it was not like this great choice that I made to be funny. I thought the character was going to be this kind of street guy that was pretending, because the dialogue was weird for me, going, I guess he's pretending to be something like a lawyer or a businessman or something. So they just kept cracking up and thinking I was hilarious. So I got the job, not even realizing that Storm was a lawyer and that I was being hilarious. They just said, stop laughing. So they have this tape comes from New York, and there's 3 hours of people, and they said I was near the end. This is Bradley Bell telling me. He says, you were near the end. So we're watching all these guys in suits and ties do this role for the attorney, for Ethan's role. And I was like, for Storm. So
right.
Storm Logan. So they go, at the end of the 3 hours, you come on, and we're like, what is this? And they just said they just kept cracking up because you're doing the exact same scenes, but in such a completely different way that we had to write Rocco for you. So that's how that happened.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, I don't think I've ever told that story. It's a great story. It's a fun story.
So you had no idea when you went in that you were even going to be Rocco.
No, and when I got there, there was Rocco. They had written Rocco, and so the only time I saw Rocco, because I said earlier, actually, I saw like they're going up for Rocco, but I still read Storm's part in New York, and when I got to LA did they have this guy Rocco, and then I'm in the waiting room with other actors, and Ron Moss had been hired. I met Ron; he'd been hired, but I hadn't been hired, and these other guys hadn't been hired, and they were all going out for other roles, and I'm like, no one's going out for Rocco. Who the heck is Rocco? They had written for me and wanted to see me do it as the character they wrote for me, so it was hilarious, and I didn't know. I did Rocco. I wore the same clothes. Because when you go to an audition, you always want to, basically make them see you the same way they saw you. I wore the same clothes I had worn the 2 other times, and I auditioned in LA for Rocco, and they hired me.
That's so cool. Yeah. And you had amazing hair.
Thank you, yes. Big hair days. The Aquanet days, I like to call them.
What was it like working with Ron Moss and Catherine Kelly Lang and John McCook and Susan Flannery? What was it like?
Honestly, it was a privilege to work with all of them. John McCook and Susan in particular, they were, icons in the industry. They've done a lot of work in television and film. So I learned a lot from them. And then Ron Moss, was from Player, which was really cool. And I would keep going, I want his face, man. I just want I want that jawline. Can I get the jaw? Give me the jawline, Ron. So we always cracked up because, he's just like the coolest, most handsome looking guy in the world. So it was always fun to do scenes with him. Catherine was great. We actually dated a little bit, Catherine and I. And I still love her. I'm still friends with her and Ron. I don't talk to John really that much anymore, but I would love to. I'm good friends with Carrie Mitchum still, who played Donna Logan. So it was a pivotal part of my life and my career, getting onto a national and international show like that was such a popular show. So it was fabulous working with them.
You reprised the role in 2008, 2009.
Yes.
Was it very different the second time around? Had it changed a lot?
Here's here's what happened with that. So I went in, I met with Bradley, and he hired me, and that was so cool. And then literally, I think it was that same week, Bill from YNR, Don
Diamont,
who I know Don, left YNR after 487 years.
All right.
And so a lot of the things that Rocco was going to do, well, Brad said, the next week I went in, he said, I hired Don to play Bill, because, my brother let him go from YNR. So that kind of messed things up for Rocco, unfortunately, because a lot of the things I believe that Rocco was going to do now Don got to do, and they just can take that storyline and make it go towards Don's new character, Bill now. So it started, and then he saw I was in a suit, and then a couple weeks later I was back in jeans and stuff, kind of walking through the back hall. So it didn't really seem to work out. Then I'd love to go back on again if there was a storyline that was right for me, honestly. At my age now where I'm, I think, again, it's nice to be in one. I've done the films and traveled the world and done all that. I don't really need to do that. I don't do that anymore. So to be on a soap would be great, although it's particularly hard during a global pandemic. So nobody is. Yes. But yeah, it would have been great to be able to expand on that. We had a lot of ideas, and then they kind of disappeared because the storyline went in a different direction, which happens, which is fine. But, right. Bradley's just great, and he brought me back again, and hopefully he'll bring me back again, and Rocco can shake things up.
Yes, that would be amazing. I'm going to have to get all my listeners to write in.
I hope you do.
We want Rocco back.
Yes, because there's a lot of things Rocco can do to shake things up, definitely.
Oh, yeah. They brought Donna back on. She's on, now and then. I forget
Yes.
what you call it. She's not like a full-time.
Right.
And they have Katie.
Katie's got huge parts on there. So, I mean, I could shake things up with Katie. Donna's not on that much, but with Donna again, with Brooke. There's a whole bunch of things I could do. I like to get in there and shake all their worlds up.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And it would give Donna an opportunity to be on more.
Yes. Although, if you remember, Katie was in love with Rocco. I love Donna, but Katie loved. So, we can go back to that. And I like to throw in Brooke, actually, too. I like to throw in Catherine Kelly Lang's character so that, there's a whole bunch of shaking up that can happen there. And I like to shake things up with Forrester. I like to shake things up across the board, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, because they have a new Ridge now, Thorsten K.
Yes.
And of course, Ridge and Brooke are having problems in their marriage as usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thorsten's good. He does a great job. I think that he's a very strong actor and he does a great job. So I just think, again, it's so incestuous now. It'd be good to get some new blood in like Rocco because they've all been with each other so many times.
I know.
I know. Between Eric and Ridge, and it just keeps going, and Bill and Bill Spencer, and I want to destroy Spencer, creations. There's a bunch of stuff that Rocco would like to do, but yeah, I don't know. It's up to Bradley. It's not up to me.
Right.
But I think Rocco could be a nice, thorn in his side, and I think he could be working with Ridge to actually undermine a lot of Bill Spencer without Bill Spencer knowing. So I just have my own. I have a few thoughts. So yeah, I gotta talk to Brad.
Yeah, you need to, because that would be really awesome.
Yes, but please do have fans listen to Amanda. Amanda is the queen. And if she tells you to write in, I think it's a great thing to do, and I would so much appreciate that.
Yeah, I will put that on all my socials.
Thank you very much. And I really would. I'd love to go back on the show again. With what's happening, they're not even. I don't think they're even filming. They were going back, and then now the governor has closed it down here in California, so I'm not sure that they're even filming anymore. So if they even did go back, but we'll get. There's time, a lot of time.
My co-host, she lives in California, Chelsea. She couldn't be here today because of work.
Well, and big shout out to Chelsea, and thank you for helping. That's the thing. It's all the people that are keeping us going that put themselves out there. That's great. The
B&B's been on for 33 years.
That's amazing. Yes.
And is that surprising to you in a way?
It's surprising personally in terms of when I look at my life and that I'm, 50 plus now and I was young 20s then. And it's so strange that I still see Rocco in my brain. Rocco hasn't gone anywhere, because he's part of me. And then I look at the show and I'm like, oh my Lord, it's 33 years. It's 33 years. And you have the workhorses, John and Catherine are still there, the originals. It's just amazing. And Ron was there up to 30 years, which is unbelievable. But no, in terms of the show itself, the writing is so strong. Brad Bell as the lead writer and producer and owner and everything is so great. The writers are so great. The crew is so great. The camera people are so great. And then the show was such a big hit that I spent a year in Italy after I was done. It's just such a big hit around the world. I'm not surprised at its success. And Brad was really smart. He kept it to half an hour, which is really smart.
Yes, that's a hot debate with listeners and fans in general. Should it be an hour? Should it stay 30 minutes?
Yes. Well, but if you look at it in terms of the cost of going to an hour it's a lot more. And so you can do a lot more in 30 minutes with the budgets that they have. And, the way they've traveled, and they've gone to Italy and Australia and here and there, they go everywhere. So it's, most soaps don't do that. It's great. At an hour, I don't know that it would be a prohibitive cost for them to do that. So I think it's smart. We all even then wanted to go to an hour back 33 years and 31 years and 30 years, we wanted to do an hour, but I think he's smart that he kept it the way it is, and its success speaks for itself.
Yes. I like it 30 minutes because if you're busy and you watch it all at the end of the week or whatever, it's only like the length of a movie. So you can fit that into your schedule easier.
Exactly right. 2.5 hours, you're done versus 5. It's great.
How do you feel about being a part of the legacy of The Bold and the Beautiful? Because you're definitely an alum, for sure.
Am I part of the legacy of The Bold and the Beautiful? I'm so excited by that. I think it's great. Rocco was an anomaly in the sense that, so this is for all your listeners. When you write a show, because I've written films and had films produced and sold, so I understand the process involved. For a TV show, it's more complicated. And then for a soap, you need to have a Bible. There's a Bible, which is a Bible of the shows and the character arcs and the storylines and where they're going to go. So you have Brad Bell and all his people working really hard. They have their show Bible. They have their characters. They have their 2 families. They have their conflicts. They have all the stuff that they're figuring out for several months, up to maybe a year or more, and then they go ahead and they throw Rocco in there. So for that, I'm eternally grateful because, again, I wasn't part of any of that. I wasn't part of the show. I'm not part of any family. When you look at it from a different perspective, I'm not a Logan, I'm not a Forrester. I was just an ancillary character that they wanted to add. So that was a pretty big deal for them to do that. And so for me, to be able to be Rocco and never be killed off, I can always be Rocco. So I'm thrilled and honored to be part of the legacy, and for you to say that I am. Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been going back and doing vintage episodes, and you're a big part of the whole beginning of the show.
I'm a part of the beginning of the show, and it's really cool. You're right, to be part of the original cast is something that I will always have, and I'm very proud of that. I've done, again, quite a bit of stuff in my career since then, and for me, when I look back now, the soap really, and I always give Mr. and Mrs. Bell and then Bradley and Bill Jr. credit because they brought me in and they gave me an international platform to be seen on, which was the first time I ever had that. And it's an incredible platform because the B&B is such a successful show. I'm very proud to be part of the legacy. Thank you.
The last thing I wanted to ask, have you always wanted to be a writer?
Right. So I started writing when I was doing a lot of acting, a lot of the action movies and stuff that I've done in the different series. I did the primetime series Street Justice with Carl Weathers after I did the soap. And so I sold some action screenplays then in Hollywood and had a few of them produced, which was exciting. But I've always loved novels. I've been reading novels since I can remember as a little tiny kid. Big change to switch from the structure of screenplays to the structure of a novel. So for me, that was a different learning curve, which is why I've been doing it now for a long time. Hopefully honing that craft and getting it better and better. But yes, I've always loved writing. And in 2003, I was badly injured on a film in Romania. So the reason I've stopped acting back then, I had to go back to Canada for some operations and healthcare and a bunch of fun stuff. So I was doing an action film in Romania and got hurt badly, which kind of ended my action career and then kind of ended my acting career to a degree. By the time I got back, able to walk properly and do everything, I kind of been out of the industry already for 5-6 years. So, although I might go back and do some commercials, I'd love to go back and do Bold and Beautiful again. But yeah, kind of stopped doing all the other stuff.
Well, before I let you go, I do want to mention, because some of the listeners and your fans may not have realized or may not know that you're a successful writer. And you have a book out. It's the first in your vampire series, and it's called Vampires X.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Yes.
I read the book. I loved it. And I can't wait for you to put more out.
I have. Thank you, Amanda. I have the second one. It's done, but it's a rough draft, so I have to keep going and get that going. I have 6 more novels. So I've been writing now for 10 years. Only put the first novel out, and I have 6 more that are here that I keep rewriting, and as I lose my mind, rewriting and rewriting and rewriting. So hopefully in the next 2 years. But in the next year, we'll have the second book in the Vampires X series come out. And then there should be some other ones. I have a fantasy novel series. I have a serial killer series. I have a romantic Hallmark Entangled Publishing kind of series. So hopefully there'll be more books out. But yes, Vampires X, I would love your readers to pick it up. It's on the heat scale. It's, I think, what would you say? Pretty hot, right? I mean, it's not a Hallmark. It's not a Hallmark movie. It's rated R. I would say. Yeah.
It's pretty hot.
If you like that and you're comfortable with that, then I would hope that everyone would pick up a copy. Kindle's inexpensive. If you want the paperback, it's under $10, and the Kindle is, I think, I don't even know what it is now, $4 or $3. So it's a really good. It's a really good price, and hopefully, something that people will enjoy. And I would love to get more reviews on that. So anyone who reads it, leave a review there on Amazon for me. Hopefully it's a 5-star review, please. But if it's less than a 5-star, that's fine. It's whatever you think. But I love to get 5-star reviews, and people love the work and support it. And that's a huge help to every writer. So for any books that you read, try and support the writers if you can.
Yes, definitely. I will put a photo on my social so everyone can see how the book looks. And if you're a fan of vampire novels, you need to read this book. It really blew my mind. It's really good. We'll
take a bite out of you. Be careful now. Keep the lights on when you read it. You've got to remind them. Keep the lights on when you read it.
Yes, it's an adult book. It's not for the young crowd.
No. Well, you could turn the lights off if you want. But yes, it'll hopefully it will blow your mind. There's a lot in there, and it's a true story. You know that, Amanda, right? The journal got to me, but it was written by a vampire, and I don't know. You got to read it. You got to read it to understand.
Yeah, you definitely need to read it.
Vampires X. Amanda will have the book there, maybe the link. You can just get it easy with a click on Amazon if you put my name in. Amazon, Vampires X is a little complicated to put in. So put my name in, Bryan Genesee, and my book will pop up and easy to buy.
I got the book on Amazon, and it came in like 2 days. So make sure you check it out.
And I really appreciate your time, Amanda, and having me on your show. It's a great show, and I hope that in the next year you get 75 million more listeners. Boom.
I hope so.
And to all the Bold and Beautiful fans, thank you all for supporting the show for so long. I know that I appreciate it beyond measure, and that the entire cast appreciates your love of the show for so many years. 33 going on 34, and it will probably be around forever.
I hope so.
Me too. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Of course. My pleasure. Everyone stay safe. Keep healthy. Get through this. Keep your family, loved ones, friends healthy. Wear a mask. Okay? And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.